Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Lawcast. This time, we're going back to cover the time the Lex Express went right off the road. It's SummerSlam 1993. Kyush, why do you think the Lex Express has endured as such an infamous flop in wrestling history?
There's two answers to this. There's the reason that I think people online and like the wrestling community will say it is, which is that it's ridiculous, it's so much hubris, it's preposterous that they would even try this, it's so stupid, Lex Luger sucks, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, all the things we've heard. But in my opinion, the wrestling community hates earnestness with its whole fucking heart. It recoils from it like a hand from a hot stove. And there is nothing more earnest that has ever been presented by a wrestling product than the Lex Express.
Yeah, it's the same way Cody flopped in AEW.
And really, like, as we're going to go through and talk about this didn't fail. It just lives on in our memories as this epic failure because that's how it's been sold to us by people who were watching at the time.
Yeah, I think there's a couple elements here. There's, the newsletter crowd, who are the influencers in wrestling, were never fond of Lex Luger. He was, fair to say, not a favorite of the dirt sheets.
I think that's fair to say.
And then part two is just like, trying to make anybody Hulk Hogan Jr. was doomed to failure and backlash. And part three, if he had eventually gotten the title, I don't think it would be such a flop. But because we got to WrestleMania and they decided it was time to put the belt on Bret instead, I think that's why it's such a hilarious failure. Because he was supposed to get the title eventually, and they just decided to never do it.
I don't know that I've ever said this word on our program before, but poor Lex Luger is such a fucking cuck in all of this, where they push him to the sky, get halfway through, and are like, actually, no, you suck, let's get Bret in here. And it's embarrassing. Like, that basically
the Virgin Lex Luger versus the Chad Bret Hart.
Like, the guy your girl told you not to worry about, Bret Hart. Oh, well, there it is. And until he goes to WCW and gets a new lease on life, his career is over. Like, he is a joke.
Yeah. All right. We'll get to that. But first, we've got some big current wrestling stories to cover here, starting with SummerSlam. It's this weekend, and unbelievably, for the second year in a row, we're going because we are in the age of the Midwest.
God, Detroit last year, and we had so much fun, and we were like, God, well, thank God for that. That'll never happen again. Next year, Cleveland, baby, right down the road.
Yeah, we all love to flee to the Cleve for a weekend.
So they're going to be super exciting in an open-air stadium. I've never seen a show in one of those. That's going to be sick.
Yeah, I guess I haven't either now that I think about it.
Yeah, so that's going to be fucking awesome. Maybe not the card we hoped it would be a month or two ago.
Maybe the card we deserve. I don't know.
I guess.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, these are, other than Punk versus Drew, like, I don't feel like we're getting the match. Like, I was hoping for, like, Cody versus Randy, Gunther versus Seth.
Yeah, I was looking for, like, Bayley versus heel Bianca and, like, Gunther versus somebody else. Didn't really shake out that way.
No, but probably see Gunther win the title. Might well see the return of Roman Reigns.
And here's the thing. It seems ridiculous to say this for WWE because I can't think of 2001 was the last time you could really say this. They've earned the right to put on a show and have us be like, yeah, but it'll be good because they haven't missed in a long time. Yeah. So, like, that's how it's been. I got to give them the benefit of the doubt.
All right. You ready for our predictions contest?
Let's go. I'm going to crush it this time.
I am up 7-2 after my victory at Money in the Bank.
Fucking fuck.
There's a lot of pay-per-views left. You still got time.
Okay.
Let's start with Sami Zayn versus Braun Breaker for the IC title. I think Triple H has saved all his title changes for this show. I think Braun is getting the belt here.
I think Braun's going to break him, and if he doesn't, then this is a fucking waste of everyone's time.
That would be absurd. I'm still mad Sammy won last month. I think that was stupid.
Yeah, honestly, I genuinely think Braun should beat him in 30 seconds this time. Like, and I know how people would feel about that, but I think Sammy would be fine, and I think that would do a lot for Braun.
Bailey versus Nia Jax. I could see this one going either way, but I'm going to say Nia just because I feel like Bailey doesn't have a lot of momentum as champion.
I will hiss like a stepped on snake if Nia Jax holds this belt. I'm going Bailey.
Get ready.
Yeah.
Liv versus Rhea. I'm going to go with Liv via Dom shenanigans.
I'm also going to say the same because, like, it's so obvious that we're going to have a Dom interference here. Like, it would be wild if it didn't happen.
Logan Paul versus LA Knight. I think it's time for LA Knight's big moment. People have been waiting a year for him to get an actual big win.
I don't even know if they ever intend to give him a big win.
Does he really need one?
I don't.
He's fine without it.
I know Logan Paul is gonna lose a big match. I don't know if it's this one, so I guess I'll say Logan Paul retains. As much as I don't want that to happen.
They are in his hometown of Cleveland, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Gunther versus Damian Priest. It's got to be Gunther. I guess I could see the case for holding off on Gunther winning the title until the show in Berlin next month. But to have Priest beat him, I think would be insane. No matter how much shenanigans there were.
He's not a babyface. It's not like doing the show in his hometown. You want everybody like pulling for him and like, hey, this is going to be his big moment in his hometown. No, just have him come in as the champion, and then they can all regale him. So I'm going Gunther.
Punk versus Drew. I'm going to say Drew when they recreate the finish from SummerSlam 1997 shot for shot.
You quite literally think that Seth is going to be swinging a chair to hit Drew, and he's going to hit Punk, and then he's going to have to count the pin while seething.
I don't know if he probably won't. Yeah, it'll be different because he won't be seething. I think maybe Drew hits him, but Seth thinks it's Punk.
That would be fantastic. Also, they can't do headshots with the chair, so they can't literally do.
No, they sure can in the other promotion. We'll talk about that in a second.
Jesus, yeah. I'm gonna go with Punk. I don't really know I don't know how we're coming out of this literally with anybody winning in particular, but CM Punk literally hasn't won a fucking thing the entire time he's been in this promotion.
So he's had one match! One match!
But he's been here almost a year now, and he hasn't won anything.
You should probably give him a win, because presumably he's going to get injured in this match again and be out until WrestleMania.
Exactly. So I'm going to say Punk wins if he can make it through the match intact.
Without his quad exploding.
Yeah.
Cody versus Solo. I can't imagine they're going to put the belt on Solo here.
Like, if there was even a little bit of a chance that Solo had the juice, I would say do it. But he doesn't have the juice, guys. No juice.
Do we agree that we're getting a Roman cameo here? I think Roman is going to come out at the end of the show.
Can you imagine if Cody just beats Solo clean and then the show ends? Like, everybody's anticipating Roman.
That's just like a WWE ending.
Yeah, but I mean, like, on this show in particular, I think people are very much anticipating Roman's return. And, like, all those reports that he was going to come back before didn't really happen. So, like...
Well, there's still time. He could show up on Friday in Cleveland.
I guess that is true. If he shows up on SmackDown, it'd be fucking crazy if he didn't show up at the pay-per-view. But I'm going to say, yeah, he's definitely going to be there.
And as the tiebreaker, what's the main event? I think it's boring, but I think it's Cody versus Solo.
I think it's Punk versus Drew.
Ooh, spicy.
I guess really...
You think Roman's going to appear, but it's not going to be the end of the show?
I guess I'm really arguing against myself, aren't I? If I'm saying it's Punk versus Drew, then Roman's probably not coming out during that match. So actually, I'm going to reverse that and say no Roman.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I could easily... It might make sense to hold Roman off, because if he comes out here, I don't think he's going to do anything. I think he's literally going to just, like, walk out on the stage and look at everybody, and the show's going to end, because I don't think they're going to want to reveal whose side he's on yet.
Exactly.
All right. Story number 2, AEW Blood and Guts. I don't know if you enjoyed this one, but I really didn't. I don't know what the point of this was.
I enjoyed it.
Other than try to kill Jack Perry, apparently.
I enjoyed everything involving Hangman and Swerve,
That's
and
good.
didn't really care for anything else.
Yeah.
Which is how I knew I was going to feel going in.
This is one where it's like, I guess I understand how they want to make this sort of an annual event and try to do it at about the same time each year, but this is a match better held off until you have, like, an appropriate feud for it, and this wasn't it.
Now, I will say this, as a podcast that has covered in full the War Game archive, I just want to say, this is the legacy of War Games, that most of them suck and have no reason to exist.
You fucker.
But it's the same thing with, like, Lockdown and the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. You can't come up with a feud that big to deserve it every year. You just can't.
Yeah. That chair shot, I've heard the chair was gimmicked, which it better have been, but that chair shot to Jack Perry was horrifying.
It's so weird that this has become like this huge tribal argument between the two companies' fan bases. And look, at the end of the day, don't do headshots. It's just not worth it. I don't care how you gimmick
definitely not unprotected ones.
It's just stupid. Like, it's not necessary.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't that effective a spot. I'm just going to be honest with you. It pissed a lot of people off. Maybe they were trying to do that and get into the news cycle, and they certainly succeeded there. But, like, it didn't add to the match.
It's like the Hangman Swerve blood drinking thing. There's just a line I think you don't cross, and they crossed it.
Okay, I'm on the other side of that, actually. I thought that was cool as hell.
It's disgusting. And I didn't warn you about this, but how about a G1 update? What's going on so far?
Yeah, let's talk about the G1, baby. So, there have been some really unexpected things about this. So far, Zack Sabre Jr. is doing amazingly. Evil is doing amazingly. Takeshita has been an otherworldly force thus far in this thing. I'm going to tell you right now, the Japanese fans are treating him like he's the second coming of Okada. Like, there's something special about him in that place that, like, honestly, I think he should just go to New Japan. I honestly
should sell his contract to New Japan.
It just let's do a tradesies back. We've taken so much. Let's give you.
Can they get like David Finlay or something? I don't know. What's an appropriate trade?
I think. Well, I mean, they've taken Ospreay and Okada. I think they owe some.
A prospect to be named later.
Yeah, I thought he would be good, but, like, I did not account for, like, he has done nothing but banger after banger the whole time that he's been there. It's been incredible. A lot of the new generation guys that we thought for sure were going to do so good, like Tsuji and Umino, have been hugely disappointing thus far, not in terms of their performances, but in terms of, like, how many points they've gotten. But it's still early. They love to do these, oh, no, he's only got 2 points. Oh, he goes on a big winning streak things. I don't think we have any clear idea of who's winning this thing at this point. The other big breakout, I think, is Bolton Oleg, who did not even go on excursion. They literally just had him win his way into this as a young lion and then gave him music and said, I guess he's ready now.
Okay, I have to confess, I've never seen this guy wrestle, but looking at a picture of him, he kind of reminds me of one of those Russians from early 90s Starrcade, and I'm all in.
He is. He's like a much, much more, like, muscular version of Zangief, basically.
That fucking rules.
He's like 6 foot. He's not like gigantically tall, but he's built preposterously. He literally like deadlifts guys like 5 times as part of his matches. He's like green, but he's getting there. I'm going to tell you this right now. There's going to be a bidding war for this man eventually, whether it's next year or the year after, whatever. But like somebody's going to make some fucking money off of Bolton Oleg. I'm going to tell you that right now.
And he's a babyface?
Yeah. Surprisingly so. I mean, he's just like
of them.
a humble, nice guy. Like, he's not, they don't really do heels that are rookies. Like, it's weird.
Okay. He'll probably develop a bad attitude later on.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll join like Bullet Club or some whack shit at some point. That's just what happens. They've also been going with their Will Ospreay replacement, Callum Newman, who is like, he's like 70% of Will Ospreay, which is still better than no Will Ospreay.
Yeah.
So anyway, this has probably been one of the best G1s I've ever seen to date. I want to give a shout out to Chris Samsa on Twitter, who does this he does the March Madness brackets thing where you can actually go on a website and pick all of the matches for the whole thing and then track your points across the whole tournament. which has made it 10 times more engaging than it's
I
ever
just
been.
feel like that would be a doom loop where you keep realizing, like, no, that doesn't quite, like, no, that you get to the end and be like, oh, this wouldn't be dramatic enough. We have to change, like, 5 match results.
Well, here's the funny thing. You had to fill out all the results before it started. It doesn't just go
Oh,
as the rounds go. So,
Yeah.
like, there's all the, like, oh, I guess Shota Umino's whole thing is that his hip is broken. He's going to win no matches. Well, fuck me. I picked him
Yeah.
to go to the Final Four.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Any thought on who's coming out of this thing?
I'm doubting. My initial thought was that it was going to be Yota Tsuji winning the whole thing. I'm
that
doubting
makes
that
sense.
now. I really think there's a very solid chance that Zack Sabre Jr. is taking this. It really feels like his year. I really thought it was going to be one of the younger guys, and I guess possibly it still could be. But like at this point, Zack Sabre Jr. or Takeshita feel like the top two. Takeshita winning would be a real game-changing opportunity.
That'd be interesting. We've never really talked about the announced Wrestle Dynasty show.
Yeah, where they're going to do quite literally a Forbidden Door
In Japan.
the night after Wrestle Kingdom at the Tokyo Dome.
That's pretty awesome.
That absolutely kicks ass. It's going to be really interesting too because ostensibly, like Forbidden Door, Tony sits down with Tanahashi and they go over it, but it's a Tony Khan book show.
Yeah.
This one's the opposite. What does New Japan want from AEW is going to be a really interesting question to answer.
Their stars back?
But can you just bring them back and just pretend like there's like nothing happened? That's odd to me. Like if Okada just wanders back in for one night and then bails, that feels bad. That feels not good.
All right. Let's turn the clock back to summer 1993. What a strange time in the World Wrestling Federation this is. They're under heat from the feds. Hulk Hogan is leaving the company. He drops the title to Yokozuna at King of the Ring 93 when a camera explodes in his face. And then he works some house shows, and then he's out of there until 2002. So it's a whole new era.
I guess swirling all around this summer in particular, in this pay-per-view in particular, is the question of, do we believe that Vince McMahon genuinely intended this SummerSlam to be Bret Hart versus Hulk Hogan?
Yes.
And like I can't say no to that because
They did the photo shoot.
Yeah, this Lex Luger thing comes out of fucking nowhere and is clearly Plan B.
Yeah.
Like that was clearly Plan A.
They did the photo shoot. They did a breakdown of each guy in the WWF magazine. Both Bret and Hogan in their books talked about this being the plan and why it went sideways. Like, I think it's more or less confirmed that was the plan, and I think Hogan got cold feet and didn't want to do it.
And here's the thing. You can absolutely see the direct line of how that would have gone. Like, Bret beats Hogan, Bret wins the Rumble, Bret beats Yoko at WrestleMania. Bret's the top guy forever and ever. We've got a new guy.
My understanding is, in the photo shoot, Bret and Hogan were doing a tug of war over the belt. So I think the idea was Hogan was going to hold on to the belt at King of the Ring.
Oh, interesting.
And then he was going to drop it to Bret at SummerSlam.
So then, like, Yoko wins the Rumble and they do that match?
I don't know. From there, who knows?
Yeah.
Like, Bret gets fucked at Survivor Series and has to win it back from somebody. But, like, yeah, I don't know.
Like, really the question here is, like, we've talked many times about during this era that, like, the big problem for Bret is that the big stars of the 80s leave in a hurry right before any of them can put him over and establish him. And that always leaves him feeling kind of untethered and tenuous as a top star. This, to beat Hogan for the belt.
Yeah, that would have been that's the ultimate rub, but Hogan wasn't doing it. How much of this, Hogan not being willing to put Bret over, do you think this is because Hogan is trying to get a deal with New Japan? This is when he did the interview in Japan where he called the WWF title a toy compared to the IWGP Championship, which is number one Ichiban title.
First of all, it is Ichiban title, but second of all, I honestly don't think that he thought anybody was ever going to hear that he said that. Like, there was a lot of that back in those days where it's just kind of like, I'll cut this promo about how you're way better than the WWE. Vince is never going to hear this shit. It's fine. It's not like
Yeah.
tape trading was not huge, and it's not like those things aired in America, so it wasn't a big deal. I'm sure he always had New Japan as a fallback. I'm not sure that he ever really intended to go there primarily, though business was on fire at the time, so maybe he did.
Is this when he has that awesome match with Muda?
Yeah.
That's the match. Where
The
he's
match
trying
where
to
Muda,
get
like,
an ECW
swings
title.
off the pirate rope and shit? Hell yeah.
But yeah, in the end, Hogan doesn't want to do the match. It is what I attribute it to, because if you're Vince and Hogan is on his way out, like, you should want him to lose to Bret Hart. That's better than him losing to Yokozuna because a fireball exploded in his face.
But also, I think Vince was ready to move on from Hogan in a more permanent way than I think Hogan was comfortable with. Like, he drops this fall to Bret, and I think Hogan can see a future where he doesn't have wrestling to come back to, you know? Like, I'm sure somebody will pay him somewhere to wrestle something, but he won't be Hogan anymore once he definitively passes that torch. I think he was fine passing it to Warrior because he knew that shit wasn't going to work. But, like, with Bret, it could have actually worked.
So at King of the Ring, Bret wins the King of the Ring tournament. You might think that would set him up to get a title match here at SummerSlam, but he got sidetracked by the Burger King, Jerry Lawler.
Is this the beginning of their 50-year feud?
Yes.
Or is this... Okay, great.
It's the beginning, and it goes on for years and years.
My God, does this thing go on. Like, this is right at the time where I become a fan. Like, I started watching, like, VHSs in 93. I didn't watch this show live, but, like, I was watching, like, the Saturday morning recap shows, like, around this time as a kid. So, like, I remember all this very vividly. And I remember it feeling like Bret Hart versus Jerry Lawler went on for all of my puberty and beyond.
So if I was booking, because I'm an NWA style booker, I think I would have had Bret get the title match here and get fucked again.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't think
I don't think either
this time it's Cornette's tennis racket instead of Fuji's salt.
I don't think either one of us would have considered, fuck it, throw Lex in a bus and send him down the road and make him the top guy. I don't think any of us, or anyone really, would have come up with that off the top of their head. Like, that's some special Vince McMahon thinking there.
So let me rattle off kind of the other babyface options here. They have Crush.
Yeah.
Tatanka.
Okay.
Bob Backlund.
Oh, God.
Mr. Perfect.
These are baby faces?
Yeah.
Jesus.
I guess The Undertaker. He's got his Giant Gonzalez thing going on.
I'll be your hero.
Well, they don't need
I know, I'm joking.
They did a tour with The Undertaker. They did a first tour, and apparently he was great at it.
Oh, I bet he would be, actually.
Yeah. And I think the guy they should have gone with is Macho Man Randy Savage, who's just on this show hyping up Lex.
This is the unthinkable part of all this, is that, like, not only do you have Macho Man on the roster, but you just refuse to use him in any sort of actual match during this period. But also, is there a more effective, like, Apollo Creed and Rocky IV figure than Macho Man?
No. It's perfect.
Like, if you want Yokozuna to murder somebody before Lex gets on his bus for vengeance, it's Macho Man. That's the perfect choice.
Yeah, I think Savage would have been great for the bus tour, or just is the challenger here. Like,
yeah, I would have just had him be the challenger. Like, he and Lex kind of start teaming up and becoming friends during the summer, and he's getting in shape for his, like, big fight with Yokozuna, and Lex is kind of worried about it, and then he goes in, and then have Yokozuna, like, bonsai drop him 150 times until he dies. And then Lex can have a reason to win the Rumble, face Yoko at WrestleMania, and win. That seems like a winner to me. I don't know.
So instead, on the 4th of July, Yokozuna has put out a challenge to any American who can try to slam him on the deck of the USS Intrepid.
This is
everyone who tries fails.
They have the whole roster out there. Baby faces, heels. It's like 50 guys. And they
Bill Fralick of the Detroit Lions and some hockey player I didn't recognize try at one point.
Yeah, that was really cool. And that's so funny, too, because, like, you got to keep a little bit of kayfabe here with the sports guys, because they're probably jacked up and they're going to try to actually do it. So Yokozuna's like dead weight in these dudes.
You can't slam Yoko if he's not helping you.
So, and I will tell you this right now. This has been clowned so much. I think this is one of the coolest visuals in the history of professional wrestling. They're on an aircraft carrier in the middle of the fucking ocean. There's a sea of big, bulky dudes who all fail while Yokozuna laughs at them. And then, from off in the distance, what is that? A black speck coming closer. A helicopter flies in, and Lex Luger, who had 1 week before been the narcissist piece of shit we all hated, steps off in like a cut-off shirt with an American flag on it and literally body slams Yokozuna and instantly becomes a babyface.
Yeah. I think that rocks, actually.
This is an amazing angle. It would work right now.
Yeah. I don't know, who's the Slam Bronson Reed, I guess. They don't have big guys.
It wouldn't work now because they don't actually treat big guys like they're special in any way. I
could probably slam Bronson Reed.
Yeah. Fucking Okada did. He's got puny arms. Like, look, I just want to be clear. Like, this is excellent booking. Like, if you've decided it's Lex, but you've been treating him like this horrific dickhead of a heel for years, to turn him giganto babyface in one fell swoop is a masterstroke. This is impressive.
They aired that footage the next night on Raw on July 5th, and then they sent Luger on a whistle stop tour. They got a bus, the Lex Express, and he drove around the country visiting shopping malls, radio stations, grocery stores. He threw out the first pitch at a Chicago White Sox game. I think this was, in 1992, Bill Clinton did a bus tour, and I think that's what this was modeled on.
Yeah, even like the bus kind of looked like Bill Clinton's bus.
Yeah.
I will argue until my dying breath that this is a good idea. Like, there's 2 reasons it's a great idea. Number one, you send this larger-than-life guy into random places all across the country, and you get people excited about this person who maybe they wouldn't have been excited about otherwise. Like, if you're a 9-year-old kid, maybe you don't give a shit about Lex Luger. But if he's at your shopping mall, you'd be like, whoa!
In the footage they showed, it seemed like they had pretty good crowds for these things.
The first stop that they do, which is at like a game store in Boston, they get 6,000 people.
That's crazy.
He signed autograph for 5 hours.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it sounded like he was late to nearly every single one of these, whether that was Lex's fault or whether it was the company's fault for not, like, taking into account how long these drives were.
Yeah, we're definitely going to get in a minute to, like, the actual problems with all of this. But, like, this is a good idea. They do this, and the other reason it's a good idea is because it keeps Lex off TV, so he can't fucking embarrass himself by cutting a promo because he's a shitty babyface promo. So instead, you're getting all of these, like, vignettes and videos of, like, him with sick kids and him posing on top of the bus in front of Mount Rushmore, which, by the way, that was cool. Because a bunch of bikers surrounded the bus because they wanted him to get out so they could beat his ass.
Oh, God.
So he had to crawl through the top hatch and pose on top of it because he had no security.
Where did you hear that?
From an interview with Lex.
Ah! That's amazing.
Yeah. He did a big interview about this a couple of years ago where he said that he actually loved this, except for that part.
Yeah. So, this was interesting. They did a series of sit-down interviews with him in an attempt, and I liked this, to try to make him, like, a real three-dimensional person instead of just a cartoon character. Yeah. You get all kinds of revelations about him that I think are really interesting, like... he talks about, like, how his dad was super strict about academics growing up, and his dad wouldn't let him play sports unless he had straight A's. He talked about getting kicked off the football team at Miami because he fell in with the wrong crowd. He admitted to using steroids. Yeah! He played back in the 70s. It was before the U. He did overlap. I think he did overlap with Jim Kelly. But, it was before the U era. But yeah, he trashed his hotel room. When he found out he was just mad that he wasn't starting. He wasn't getting any playing time. So he trashed his hotel room, got kicked out of the U, and then went and played pro football in Canada, had some tryouts with the Green Bay Packers, didn't make the team, and then played in the USFL I think he played for the Memphis team, and I think he played in Tampa with Ron Simmons.
That's crazy that they were both on the same team.
He was probably blocking Ron Simmons. He was an offensive lineman. He may have been a tackle. I don't know if he's tackle or guard. He's pretty tall. He's probably a tackle.
I'll always wonder how Ron Simmons never made the league. He was one of the greatest college football players of all time.
He was too short.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, and he wasn't that bulky. Although that's the era before you didn't have to be 300 pounds back then.
He was like Aaron Donald at the time.
Yeah. And he also admitted to using steroids before they were illegal.
And then
which is smart to not do the Hogan one there. Don't lie about it.
We've seen your body, buddy. We know you did it. It's fine.
But yeah, I thought these were pretty good overall, and a smart thing to do, especially to do the pre-tapes instead of putting them out there in front of the crowd.
Every time they've done these, they've worked pretty effectively, whether it was this one, Goldust, Mankind. These are just good things that help people get into characters. Now, of course, the shooting of these is partially what dooms him, because it was a nightmare to try to get these interview segments out of him. Like, they told stories about, 70 takes, where, the kids were miserable and Lex was pissed off. And
yeah. I think that was for Survivor Series. It was just, all he had to say was, Happy Thanksgiving, and he just couldn't get the line. He just could not get this one line out.
The idea of a Happy Thanksgiving just could not occur to his brain.
I don't think it was a very happy family.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Look, I will say this. Lex Luger has some really interesting qualities. He looks absolutely larger than life. There's no human being you've ever seen that looks like Lex Luger.
One of the greatest physiques ever in wrestling.
And he just looks like that all-American blonde, literally the photographic ideal. If Vince McMahon could have carved a new Hulk Hogan out of granite, it would have been Lex Luger. It's just that Lex, personality-wise, just wasn't the guy you would think he was for looking at him. And
that's a heel.
Yeah. He even said in that interview that I was talking about, I always wanted to be a heel. I didn't really want to be a babyface. It's hard. It's hard to get people to like you.
Yeah. And he's a natural, I think the best interpretation you can say is he's a naturally shy guy, and people kind of mistake his shyness for arrogance.
He's not dissimilar from Sid, which we've kind of unpacked over time to be the reason Sid's Sid is because he has different mental health issues that I think is fair to say that make him not ideal for the wrestling industry. And that's hard for him. And it's probably the same with Lex.
August 9th, hell froze over when Jim Cornette debuted in the WWF. August 2nd, actually.
The hilarious way that they just literally blackmailed, cajoled, begged, bartered, and stole to get him into this company.
They're like, hey, what if we brought in the Heavenly Bodies and had them wrestle the Steiner Brothers at SummerSlam? And then he gets there and they're like, hey, Jim, what if you managed Yokozuna and joined the creative team? And we gave Smoky Mountain Wrestling a bunch of our wrestlers.
But literally, there's no way that Jim couldn't have known that there would be oh, there's probably a carrot here. There's going to be something. But I'm sure he didn't know, you got to move to Connecticut. And also, you work for us now. And also, you're working with Yoko. Could they not come up with another manager for Yoko? Why were they so desperate for Jim?
Who would you have gotten? Who's out there? Paul Heyman?
Heyman's an interesting one because he did get out literally right around this time.
And well, he's got the Samoan connection, but you can't acknowledge that Yoko's a Samoan is the problem.
I don't know how but I also don't really know how you get to Cornette because that doesn't really make sense.
No, he just showed up.
Yeah, he has nothing to do with it.
This is Yoko's American spokesman.
Okay.
No, but I don't know. Gary Hart managed Muda, Slick managed the Russians. I don't know. There's heat to this.
Yeah.
Blasky managed the Iron Sheik.
Thank God they didn't choose fucking Barry Whippleman or Harvey Whippleman or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
That guy sucks.
Harvey Whippleman managed Sid at WrestleMania 8, which is insane.
Yeah, we'll get to that when we get to his match, but I think he's one of the worst managers of all time. I don't know, what's Sherry doing? She bopping around somewhere?
I think she got fired right around this time.
Oh, that sucks.
I don't know
why. There's not a lot of potential around. Nobody can cut a promo in this company during this point.
Look, Gary Hart.
I don't know.
Why did Gary Hart never work in the WWF?
That's a good question. He worked against the WWF his
entire
career. I don't know. I mean, he's getting up there in years at this point.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. Certainly possible. Not any more than Fuji is.
So, when they did the contract signing, it was revealed that Cornette had added a clause to the contract that this would be Luger's one and only shot at Yokozuna. There would be no rematch.
This might be the one and only time in all of recorded wrestling history where that's the stipulation and the babyface loses.
Yeah. Trying to think of it. Well, didn't this happen to Luger with Flair in '88 at Starrcade?
You know what? You're right. The same shit happened. Yeah. I bet you that was Cornette's first idea. It's like, hey, let's redo Flair and Luger. Why not?
Jesus. Let's fuck Lex again because nobody will ever get sick of that.
It's true.
The week before this show, they ran the SummerSlam Spectacular. I'm going Lex Luger. I can't get my mouth around these words.
Oh, yeah.
T-shirts are too tight. They ran the SummerSlam Spectacular TV special. On that card, Yokozuna beat Jim Duggan. Razor Ramon beat Blake Beverly. Tatanka and the Smoking Guns beat Barry Horowitz. Brooklyn Brawler and Reno Riggins. Shawn Michaels beat Bob Backlund to retain the IC title. Marty Jannetty beat Dwayne Gill, and the Steiner brothers retained the tag titles in a cage match over Money Inc. It's a pretty good card for free TV.
Honestly, it's almost as good a card as the one we're about to talk about.
I love the SummerSlam Spectacular, the Survivor Series Showdown, the March to WrestleMania. I love these shows.
I just think it's such a good idea to put on like a big show to like get some stir going before your big show and like get people invested in those angles. Like it makes sense.
All right. Before we get into the show, are you ready for a new generation lightning round?
I'm terrified. Let's go.
Vince McMahon debuted as a heel character in the Memphis wrestling territory. Mick Memphis began.
This is still the greatest thing I've ever heard in my life. Because Vince McMahon, who has never been a heel or even a character for one moment in his life, did he suggest it or did Cornette suggest it?
I don't know if Vince had always wanted to do this or maybe it was Lawler's idea. Because I think Lawler's thing with being in the what Lawler didn't like about working in the WWF was he still has to be a babyface in Memphis. So he has to always find ways to explain, how they're misrepresenting his actions in the WWF. Because people in Memphis are watching their TV, and he's being, Jerry Lawler's scumbag heel. So I think that might have been part of it, is why don't we bring Vince down here and people can see what a bad guy he is, and I'll look good in comparison.
But not only does Vince do it, he, agrees immediately. He's like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. And he goes down there, and by all accounts, kills it.
Oh, yeah. This is incredible.
Greatest heel who ever lived.
Yeah. This is where, the heel Mr. McMahon character got its start.
But by all accounts, he thought nothing of it. He was like, oh, that was some good fun. Ha, ha, ha. All right. Well, back to work. And everybody else who saw it was like, this is the future.
Yeah. They were it's obviously maybe you're just kissing the boss's ass, but Vince, you're the greatest heel we've ever seen.
Yeah. It's just no,
it's
don't worry about it.
Everybody loves me. Ha, ha.
Yeah.
The Nasty Boys left the company. I don't think anyone missed them.
It feels weird that they were still there at this point, honestly.
I'm trying to remember the last thing they had done. Maybe they were at Survivor Series 92?
Maybe.
Vern Gagne declared personal bankruptcy. Sad ending for one of the great legends of pro wrestling.
Yeah. I don't really know that there was a future that would have worked, honestly.
Yeah. I don't know. I assume he had an offer from Vince to buy out his territory that he didn't take. That was the downfall of many of the old-time promoters.
I'm sure it was. And, he was the one who held on the longest. He was the one who really thought that it was going to go to the very end. He did not see this coming. He genuinely thought he was going to do his style of wrestling all the way to the end and no one was ever going to stop him.
Meltzer reported that Cornette had been offered the spot of Ric Flair's manager in his WWF run after Bobby Heenan had stopped managing Flair due to his neck problems. That would have been interesting.
That would have been interesting. I like that a lot.
Do you remember the Bruce Pritchard Bobby Heenan Jr. idea?
No, what is that?
They were going to bleach Pritchard's hair blonde, and he was going to be Bobby Heenan's son.
I mean, I guess age-wise, that kind of works.
Yeah.
It's honestly kind of weird that we didn't get more Bruce Pritchard on our TVs when you consider the number of things that were pitched for him. I think he was actually a pretty decent performer, so I really wouldn't have minded it.
Better performer than writer, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that like if it gets him out from writing the fucking shows, then yeah, let's do it.
Men on a Mission, Atom Bomb, and the Bastion Booger all debuted.
Who's the best of those characters?
Oh. Men on a Mission were fine with me.
Okay. That's fine. I can't say anything
like
better for
Atom Bomb?
Yeah, I can't say anything good for Atom Bomb.
Ryan Clark is cool. That character was pretty silly.
Yeah.
Sources in AAA claimed that Hogan had contacted them about coming in.
In AAA?
Fuck yeah. This is when AAA's on fire.
This is so funny because Hogan is finally a free agent for the first time in his career, and he's like,
he doesn't know what to do with himself.
You know, he called up Meltzer and he's like, Meltzer, where are the gates, brother? Where's the money? He's like, Mexico? Really?
What? Tito Santana forfeited the ECW title due to being out of dates on his contract and not wishing to continue to work there.
Oh, they did the Rob Van Dam. Except in this case, Tito was like, please let me out. I don't want to work here anymore.
Yeah. Louis Spicoli got a tryout for the Detroit Tigers farm system as a pitcher. I love the idea that Louis Spicoli may have pitched for the West Michigan Whitecaps.
That's crazy, because
probably not the Toledo Mud Hens. That's AAA.
My only memory of Louis Spicoli is him as a wildly out of shape drug addict. Yeah. So, like, the idea of him playing baseball is very funny.
Jerry Lawler smacked the ukulele of 70s music star Tiny Tim on an episode of Raw.
Boy, Tiny Tim is one of those references that I barely get. So I know most of the people listening to this definitely don't get it.
I had never heard of him before I Googled him after I saw this segment. Apparently, he had kind of a revival in the 90s.
It's worth mentioning that back in the day, usually through like game shows and network events and stuff like that, there was just a recurring cast of like one-trick weirdos that would like be paraded around TV every so often in like the 70s and 80s. Now those are like your reality stars, like your guys on like Love Island and stuff like that who are like have their 15 minutes. In those days, it was a weirdo who played the ukulele.
WrestleMania the album was released.
What's your favorite song off of WrestleMania the album?
I've always liked the New Generation WrestleMania theme. The da 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 da. That just reminds me. It's not as good as the original WrestleMania theme, but it feels like a big show.
Is Grab Them Cakes on the WrestleMania album?
No, that was on Pile Driver, I think.
That's right. I always think about Pile Driver because Pile Driver kicks ass.
Pile Driver's great. The song Pile Driver is incredible.
Pile Driver, yeah.
The company asked the entire roster to move to the Northeast to cut costs.
Whoa.
Yikes. Yeah. Everybody's got to move to Connecticut.
There is maybe... I try to think about places in the world I would less rather live than Connecticut. And, like, it's not a short list because there's a lot of bad places in the world, but it's not a long list either.
Connecticut is so expensive, and the traffic is horrible.
And there's nothing to do in Connecticut. Because New York is right there, there's nothing to do in Connecticut.
Steve Kern claimed he was offered a position as assistant booker under Savage, but turned it down to play the Skinner character on indie shows instead.
So Savage would have been the head booker?
I don't think Savage was actually booking. I think he just made this up.
Yeah, I don't think Steve Kern had any idea what the fuck he was talking about here.
I have a lot of Savage this week. A miniature version of Randy Savage called the Macho Midget debuted.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Uh-huh? Yeah.
Maybe the biggest miracle of all time is that when Vince McMahon was first exposed to midget wrestling with the AAA guys, he did not immediately and continually keep them on television for the rest of the time. He did a lot.
I loved Mini Vader, Mini Paul Bear, and Mini Mankind.
First of all, mini wrestling is really fucking awesome in a lot of ways. Especially
when done well, yeah.
When done well, but Vince wouldn't have done it well, and he never did, if you recall.
Yokozuna and Jim Cornette appeared on Regis and Kathy Lee on the morning of this show. Cornette wore a neck brace to sell his injury from Smoky Mountain Wrestling.
That's some pervert shit. Come on, man. Nobody cares.
Just like Tony Khan for the NFL draft.
It is actually similar, where it's this hugely televised thing, and you're selling a thing that nobody who's watching knows about.
You can't expose the business to everybody and knock.
Oh, God, that's so funny. Also, why do you send Jim Cornette and Yokozuna to do this show?
No, wouldn't you? It seems like it should have been Lex, but maybe they didn't trust Lex.
And now that I'm looking at the card, who on this show would you send? Brett? He's a terrible interview.
Savage is great on these things.
It should have been Savage. Yeah, you should have sent Savage.
He's not even wrestling on the show.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Literally,
he should have been.
Yes, he absolutely should have been. Here's the other thing, too. As we go through this show, just mentally insert Randy Savage into all of these matches. It doesn't matter where into the matches. Just put him in any of them, and you'd be
he had a really good match with Doink on one of the Raws leading in here.
Or what if he wrestles Ludwig Borga and loses to him?
Because
they're setting up they're setting up Borga versus Lex at the end of this show. So wouldn't
literally
that be
Rocky 4?
This is what I'm saying.
CM Punk doesn't know what we're talking about.
No, he's never heard of Rocky. It is funny that Rocky 4 has been used as a reference in the wrestling industry more in the last year than it was in the 40 years before that.
And finally, the Hammer. Terry Funk announced he would be wrestling former World Heavyweight Boxing Champion Leon Spinks. This match actually happened.
Leon Spinks had a really sad end of his career.
Didn't he beat Ali in 77 or something like that?
Yep, and basically it's like if Buster Douglas got really heavy into drugs and lost all his money and had to keep working, which he may have done for all I know. I don't know what happened to Buster Douglas, but Leon Spinks just kind of continued on trying to make money wherever he could. Didn't Mick have a really sad story about meeting Spinks and he had so much brain damage he was hard to talk to?
I don't remember that. Maybe.
Somebody had a story about that back in the day. I can't remember.
That actually does ring a bell, actually.
Yeah.
All right, to get into the show, it's Monday, August the 30th, 1993. Yeah, they were still doing the Monday thing, and it's not even Labor Day.
This is fucking nuts. Why the hell?
Monday night.
How do you think you're gonna draw all these people on a Monday fucking night?
But they did! There's over 18,000 people there!
They claim 23.9.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true, but...
No, between 18 and 19 is kind of the estimate. And at a few points you could see a couple sections tarped off in the upper deck. But, this would be a sellout today with a modern set that blocks a bunch of seats. This is a very strong crowd.
The buy rate is what, 250?
250, down from 280 the previous year, which was considered a disappointment at the time.
But this one has no Hogan. This is
neither did last year. The previous year was Wembley. Hogan wasn't on that show.
That is true. So that is a good point. And, that was a disappointment, and it was... the reason that they thought that you couldn't...
The reason they never went back to England, yeah.
Yeah, which turned out that wasn't at all the case. But still, I don't think you could call this a failure. Certainly in live attendance, they packed this place out.
On commentary, I guess we forgot to mention, it's at the Palace of Auburn Hills in Auburn Hills, Michigan. Suburban Detroit, as they repeatedly refer to it throughout the show.
This is what I think we would have to call our hometown arena, as it's the one that's the closest really to the two of us that's gonna ever get a show of this spectacle.
God damn, do I miss the Palace.
The Palace is the fucking best.
Just
man.
majestic. It set the standard for all future basketball. Like, all future basketball arenas were based on the Palace.
I got to see one game there, and I was always so happy that I got to do that.
It was just majestic, and it was like Auburn Hills barely existed as a city before they built this thing. They basically were like, okay, where is there a bunch of open land, like, in the Detroit suburbs? And they're like, okay, we're going to build the arena here, and then we're just going to surround it with a shopping mall, a bar, a movie, like, build, like, basically an adult playground from scratch here.
And they did a really smart thing where it's like halfway between Detroit and the airport. So, like, people could fly in and just go to Auburn Hills for the show, and they wouldn't ever actually have to go to Detroit.
Yeah.
Because Detroit was starting to develop a pretty bad reputation.
Times were tough in Detroit at this point. It's thankfully gotten much better, but yeah, like, the Pistons moved out of Detroit because people didn't want to go into the city anymore to go to games.
Yep.
I mean, they had been playing at the Silverdome before this. They needed an actual arena to play in.
Yeah, the Palace is incredible. It looks incredible on camera here, too.
Yeah.
The tagline for this show is, Fat Chance. Somebody has to stop him. Fat Chance seems like, why are we making fat jokes? Like, what are we doing there?
Somebody was going to stop him. It wasn't going to be Lex Luger.
I do love the tagline, somebody has to stop him. Like, that's so great.
On commentary, Vince McMahon and Bobby Heenan. Heenan was on fire tonight. I liked Heenan.
I can't remember another show that has these two on it. How many did they get together?
They called SummerSlam the year before this.
It's just, it feels bizarre, but it's a surprisingly good match. Like, yeah.
So
cynical Bobby.
At WrestleMania was when Jim Ross debuted, and it was JR, Heenan, and Savage. And yeah, by this point, McMahon's already done with JR.
And like, Savage isn't on commentary here, so like, no, he definitely could have wrestled.
Comes out at the end to hype up Luger, but yeah, he's not really on the show.
But I think Vince and Heenan would have been a decent team. Of course, everything's going to change over like the next year, and Heenan's out and Lawler's in.
Yeah, I believe this is Heenan's last pay-per-view, I believe. And Vince, I think, is indicted a few weeks after this.
Crazy. Yeah.
And they're still going to fire Jim Ross like by the end of the year because they hate him so much.
It's just so fucking nuts that we wind up with Jim Ross versus Jerry Lawler being the greatest commentary team of all time, which is not, I think, what anyone would have expected at this point.
Jerry's about to have a big problem in about a month or two after this, too, that we've never talked about on the show. In the dark match, Owen Hart defeated Barry Horowitz in 8 minutes and 32 seconds. That was probably actually pretty good.
It was probably pretty good, but like, it tells you where Owen is in the company at this point, that Barry Horowitz is getting 9 minutes against Owen Hart.
Yeah, Bruce Hart is who they're pushing here, as we'll talk about later.
God.
Fucking Bruce Hart. Didn't Meltzer put him over in The Observer?
Of course he did.
We start with footage of the Lex Express rolling into Auburn Hills, narrated by Gene Okerlund. This is Gene's last WWF appearance. He's off to WCW after this.
That's crazy.
Yeah, he's at WCW by Starrcade, remember? That's Flair versus Vader.
This opening view is so good. Yeah. Because, like, the bus rolls up, like, Lex climbs out, and there's, like, a mob of people there coming after him. It's awesome.
It's like the Beatles.
And like, it was real to some extent. I can't express this enough to you guys that like, as much as everybody mocks Lex Luger for all of this shit, like, he was wildly over with this crowd. At least on this night, Luger's the fucking man.
And you were the target audience for this. What were you, like 8 or 10 years old?
I was in love with Lex Luger. I thought Lex Luger was the fucking shit. I thought he was so cool. I thought the Lex Express was fucking awesome. I asked my mom if we could go to, like, one of the towns that he was stopping at, which would have been like a 5-hour drive. Rightfully told me no.
Good. I wonder if they sold Lex Express toys. I would have bought. I'd buy one of those today if it is.
Oh, like a little bus? Like, yeah. Oh my God, yeah. Like, and again, I was only watching like the clips on the Saturday morning wrap-up show. So I wasn't seeing like actual matches or anything like that. I was watching like the music video for I'll Be Your Hero.
You know, one interesting thing, they didn't have a lot of Lex Express stuff on Raw. I think that was mostly on the syndicated shows. Raw had all the the interesting thing was I watched the Raws lead into this, and I didn't watch Superstars because I just didn't have time. It's clear that this is the time where there's still feuds that take place, like primarily or entirely on the secondary shows at this point.
Yes. And I would imagine it's
an hour. You can't fit it all.
And I would imagine it's the ones that I think will appeal mostly to like the kids and people who are watching those secondary shows. Because again, I was quite literally the target market for these wrap-up shows. It's like Saturday morning immediately after the cartoons go off. It was like noon, right?
Yeah.
So like
probably weren't allowed to stay up late to watch Raw on Mondays.
I watch like Power Rangers and X-Men, and then I'll go tune over to like see what happened on like WWE this week, and that was my Saturday mornings, and it kicked ass.
Opening match. I can't believe this happened. Ted DiBiase versus Razor Ramon.
Doesn't even feel like these two men breathed air at the same time.
It feels like they're from entirely different eras, but yeah, they overlap here. This is DiBiase's last night in the company.
At least, I mean, DiBiase goes out like putting somebody over, which is nice.
Yep.
He's another one of those guys from the 80s that it doesn't feel like really did the big job to put somebody over, but he did a bunch of jobs.
We've talked about it before. It feels like he's very underutilized here in the early 90s. Like, as the stars are dropping like flies, it feels like he should be a bigger deal than he is.
I mean, they try like the $1 Million Corporation, but it sucks.
Well, so, yeah, that was after he was retired. I don't really count that.
Yeah, but like, you're absolutely right. Like, there's no reason that when there was all this uncertainty about what they were going to do, that you couldn't have like put the belt on DiBiase for a couple months while you figured it out.
Him and Brett would have been a banger pay-per-view match.
But this is the thing. When they did that bizarre thing where they like shifted the belt from Flair to Brett, but on like a house show and they didn't know what the fuck they were doing, just put it on DiBiase and let Brett beat him for real. Like, it just felt so weird in that whole transition that no one ever thought of him.
So Razor has turned face after he lost to the 1-2-3 Kid and ultimately ended up kind of sticking up for him when IRS and DiBiase were picking on him. IRS and DiBiase offered Razor a job, which he turned down.
I do want to point out that, like, we don't talk about this time as being, like, a lot of good storylines in booking, but I think it's actually underrated for a couple of reasons. Like, the Razor face turn and this Lex face turn are two of the most brilliantly executed babyface turns they've ever done. Like
the Kid thing's brilliant.
Where they have 1-2-3 Kid beat him, and then all the heels make fun of him, so we start to feel bad for Razor, and then he sticks up for the Kid and turns full babyface. It's just perfect. Like, you couldn't execute it more perfectly than that.
DiBiase jumps Razor as soon as he gets in the ring. He doesn't even have time to get his vest off, but he turns the tide. He backdrops DiBiase and then hits a fall-away slam. DiBiase starts wearing Razor down after that. Razor reverses a whip to the ropes and hits a clothesline. Razor then hits the Razor's Edge and gets the pin. Pretty good match, not as good as I was expecting or hoping for. I think Scott Hall was still kind of figuring out how to work, the Razor Ramon character as a babyface.
I will say this. This is let's call it pudgy DiBiase. He's at the end of his career, like he's not in the best shape anymore. I did not think Razor was going to get him up for this Razor's Edge.
Oh,
this
that took some work.
A full minute of this match is just him very carefully trying to get DiBiase up without dropping him on his fucking head.
Could DiBiase 250 here? He's tall. He's probably 6'3".
I would say so. And like, Hall is a huge dude and he's very strong, but this move is like so hard to do.
Yeah.
Because you're supporting someone's total body weight behind your back.
Yeah. So DiBiase after this is going to leave to go work for All Japan and injure his back and neck and be forced into retirement. And he never wrestled or even took a bump again after that. He actually stuck to his Lloyd's of London policy.
I do think it is funny because a lot of these 80s guys, I wonder if they would have stuck with WWE for longer if it weren't for how much money there was overseas.
Yeah.
Like maybe
the payoffs are shit by this point.
Yeah, I really do think that like the DiBiase's of the world would have been like, well, let me re-sign with Vince if they weren't like, oh, all my other Mid-South buddies from back in the day are making how much money working AJPW shows? Let's go.
Then Todd Pettengill interviews Rick and Scott Steiner's mother and sister. I love to have the sister called Rick Robb, which is his real name.
This is very, very funny.
Also, the Steiner's sister was surprisingly hot.
Does not look like you would expect the Steiner sister to look. Also, she had like the heaviest tan I've ever seen a human being have.
Clearly the queen of Bay City, Michigan.
Oh God, yeah.
And then Cornette, like we hear Cornette from off screen because he's shouting into the mic during the Body's entrance.
I love that.
Let's bring out the awesome duo. What do they go by? Gigolo Jimmy Del Rey, and is it the Doctor of Love, Tom Pritchard?
The Doctor of Love. Let's take a second to talk about how this is the greatest tag team of all time.
These two dumpy, gross-looking dudes who they're trying to portray as ladies' man.
The joke is that they're calling themselves the Heavenly Bodies. They have like planets on their tights, but it's because they think they're so sexy, but they're really not. Let me put this out there. I have thought for years that these guys were a joke, that they sucked. I've barely seen any matches. Sitting down and watching this one again, they're amazing, and Jimmy Del Rey might be the greatest wrestler of all time.
Jimmy Del Rey was probably the best wrestler on this show tonight.
He's certainly the only one doing fucking moonsaults.
Moonsaults, planchas, swinging DDT. Yeah.
This is the moment where I have to espouse a theory that I have, that I don't know if it's a hot take or whatever, but Jimmy Del Rey's moveset is basically stolen by The Rock when he first debuts. Like, they're both in Memphis at the same time. That Hurricane DDT The Rock would do where he spins around the guy and does it, that's Jimmy Del Rey. The way he moves around the ring, even the way that he kicks people, that's Jimmy Del Rey. Imagine if The Rock was a short, dumpy white guy.
Yeah. How different would history be?
Yeah.
Crowd got pretty into this. Of course, the Steiners are hometown favorites. Crowd started chanting "Let's Go Blue" at one point.
I could not figure out what they were saying. Let's go. I was like, this is not any of their names. What are you guys chanting?
Scott set up for the Frankensteiner on Del Rey, but Pritchard came in and cut him off with a bulldog. Del Rey did a somersault off the apron onto Scott. He hit Scott with the Hurricane DDT. Scott caught Pritchard with a Tiger Bomb and was able to tag in Rick. Rick beats the hell out of both guys. They hit the Steiner Bulldog, but Pritchard broke the pin up. Then there was a power slam by Rick. Cornette threw his tennis racket in the ring. Pritchard hit Rick with it. Thought that was going to be the pin, but Rick kicked out at 2. Del Rey then goes for the moonsault, but Rick moves and he hits Pritchard instead. And then the Frankensteiner on Del Rey gets the win for the Steiners. Great match, way ahead of its time.
Like, the Heavenly Bodies are doing shit that they claim were like things that changed the business like 5 years later, and nobody's crediting them. But like, this is like the same match that like the Thrill Seekers would be having around the same time, and it's being had by these like 35-year-old dumpy weirdos.
Yeah, and like, man, the Steiner's WWF run is so weird because this feels like the only time they put him in the ring with somebody who could actually wrestle.
And they kill it. Like, they blow any expectations away. It's so weird because the Steiners are so perfect for this company, especially at this time. You want to go that patriotism angle. Yeah. The Steiners are all American through and through, literally and figuratively. You want to go with like actual good matches and younger guys. The Steiners, man, they're right there.
Incredible athletes. These guys are both all American college wrestlers.
Guys that aren't on steroids but look like $1 million fucking dollars. Like, Scott Steiner looks basically the same years later. I don't understand how he's in this kind of shape.
And yet, I think they just weren't over the top enough characters for Vince. I think Vince just didn't see it.
That's the wildest thing.
Yeah.
And The Steiners get to be part of their legacy as one of the most important teams of all time is that they get to go everywhere during essentially the same period. Like, if you're a fan watching, like the Steiners are on WCW and WWE and New Japan in the same year.
ECW.
Yeah. They're everywhere. They're part of everyone's history.
Yep. Yeah, they kind of do. They do a nomad thing. You know, they leave the WWF the year after this, and then they're just kind of wandering around. They don't sign with WCW until '96, I think.
Yeah, and they're the top tag team literally everywhere they go. Like they show up places, beat everybody, and then leave.
Then Joe Fowler, who's a new announcer that I don't think lasted very long, interviews Shawn Michaels and Diesel, and Shawn promises to retain tonight. And Diesel actually gets a line in. He's doing a weird New Jersey accent here. Is he doing like Andrew Dice Clay?
Yeah, I think that's what he was trying to do. Diesel is still trying to figure out what's Vinny Vegas and what's Diesel, and he's not quite there yet.
Yeah, you're right. That was probably his Vinny Vegas shtick.
And, like, I'm sure that's what, like, Shawn wanted, but that's not really going to work. I will say that this look that he's got going with, like, the greasy mullet and the sunglasses and the fringe, he looks incredible.
Just a guy you wouldn't fuck with.
He just towers over Michaels and the announcer guy. Like, unfortunately, this is before Michaels really figures out how to cut promos. It's pretty wretched. He's not good.
Just imagining that you talk shit to Diesel at a bar when he's sitting down, and then he stands up and you realize he's 7 feet tall.
Oh, I want you to imagine talking shit to Shawn Michaels, who's probably actively hitting on your girlfriend, and then a tap on your shoulder and you turn around and it's Diesel.
Yeah.
Which happened, I bet, to a lot of guys during this period.
I think the bodyguard thing was pretty much a shoot. Shawn was sick of getting his ass kicked in bars. Shame Diesel wasn't with him that night in Syracuse when all the Marines beat him up.
Well, Bulldog was, but he wasn't much fucking help. He was
couldn't get out of the car. Yeah, he's like, oh, fuck me, I'm stuck.
He had Bulldog with him, and he could watch. He was watching as Shawn got his ass beat, but he couldn't get out of the back seat of the fucking car.
And he had Waltman, quote unquote, legitimate tough guy.
I bet you Waltman and Bulldog like looked at each other and were like, "Oh no, we're stuck. Whoops, sorry, buddy."
Waltman couldn't hit some karate kicks on these guys?
Well, you'd have to get naked to be really effective. You got to ask Sasuke about that.
Next up for the IC title, we've got Shawn Michaels defending against Mr. Perfect. A dream match that, for whatever reason, just doesn't really get out of first gear.
I think these guys are too similar.
That's always what we've said. That makes sense.
Also, I don't think enough is made of the fact that this isn't
the real Mr. Perfect, right?
It's also not the real Shawn Michaels. This is Shawn Michaels has been eating buffet food with Kevin Nash every day. He is visibly thicker. He looks like he's on a different aspect ratio from usual. Like he's been like squashed and like widened out.
That's what makes it so funny when they pull the steroid test failure on him a few months after that. He's literally like, look at me, I'm fatter than fuck.
Like literally he's in like hilariously bad shape.
Yeah, no, he looks like one of the heavenly bodies here. Which I think is great. I think it makes him more heelish.
Yeah. I wonder how his career, because like he's bigger than Perfect. Like he's like stouter than Perfect is. This is like the only time in his career where he's not like the underdog in every match that he's in, because he's bigger than a bunch of guys.
So these guys had a huge backstage brawl at WrestleMania, and then they had a really famous angle on Raw where Shawn pulled up to the building and Perfect jumped him, and they smashed Howard Finkel's prized Cadillac.
And Finkel's like, oh man, this is so great, Wait, is my car?
Vince did buy him a new one, apparently.
Vince loved to prank, but I guess he took care of him, so it's fine.
I think they fixed it, and it, like, wasn't quite right, so, like, Vince got talked into buying him a new one.
That's good.
I don't think they had to use Howard's car. I feel like they could have made a deal with, like, a car dealership in the area is what they normally do.
They did that a million times when they did it other times. I think he just wanted to fuck with Howard's car.
When Austin filled that Corvette with cement, that was actually Vince's Corvette, though.
That is true.
That's amazing.
But like when they would do like the monster truck spots, those were always like rentals.
Vince shouts out Gorilla Monsoon and Jim Ross doing commentary for Radio WWF, and they cut to them, and they're like up in the rafters.
God, Radio WWF. Like, if you're Jim Ross, you're like, why the fuck did I leave WCW? I don't hate the Bischoff kid that much. What the fuck?
It's just so fascinating how just oil and water this turns out to be. Vince just cannot stand Jim Ross and his southernness.
The fact that it does come back around and they wind up doing business together and it winds up being massively, crazily successful for a very long time, maybe the most surprising development in the history of the business. They hate each other that much. If
Vince weren't indicted and going to trial in the summer of '94, I don't know if they ever would have brought him back. But they just needed somebody, and they knew, like, Vince might hate him, but at least he kind of trusts him.
And at that time, there was nobody else. Gorilla couldn't do it.
Who did you get?
They Vince would
hate Joey Styles.
And at this time, Joey Styles is a fucking insurance salesman. He's not doing... ECW isn't anything at this point.
No, I don't know who you would even be trying to hire at this point.
You breaking the old man, Gordon Soley, out of retirement?
I was going to say, it's like Gordon Soley, Lance Russell, like, going to some fossils.
Bob Caudle, get him in here.
Oh, man. God, who did commentary in Smoky Mountain? It was Caudle, and I can't think of who the play-by-play guy was. It was probably Lance Russell.
Yeah, probably.
Anyway, this match, Perfect dominates. He blocks a drop kick and slingshots Shawn over the top rope. Perfect gets distracted by Diesel. That allows Shawn to hit him with the sweet chin music on the floor. Then Shawn beats on Perfect for the next couple minutes. Perfect makes a comeback, but Diesel pulls Perfect out of the ring on the pin, and then Diesel runs Perfect into the steps, and we end up with a count out. Pretty flat finish, and I think Perfect is gone. He's gone before Survivor Series. He ends up departing the company for a while.
I mean, it was a flat finish. Of all the things on the show that you would have imagined would be like can't miss, definitely going to be a good match, this is one of the worst matches on the show.
It's a big disappointment.
Yeah.
Then Fowler interviews the 1-2-3 Kid backstage. He's nervous for his first pay-per-view match, which is coming up next.
How do you feel that Pac's career would have been different if his voice hadn't sounded like this?
I don't know. Do you think that held him back? You think that's why Vince made him a heel?
I don't know. The whole thing about his character is that he's like a shy, nervous kid.
Yeah, he's supposed to be like the kids are supposed to see themselves in him.
Yeah, so he's supposed to be like this, like, oh, I'm going to try my best, you guys. Like, I don't know if I can win, but God damn it, no one's going to say that I didn't try my hardest. But instead he's just like, hey, guys, make some noise.
Yeah. He's also not that small.
No, he's 6 feet tall.
Yeah, he's like a perfectly normal-sized man, but like in this company that makes him tiny. Like, we don't think of Mike Rotunda as a big guy, but Rotunda's probably 6'2", like 230.
Rotunda's a big fucking guy. Like,
big gut at this point.
Yeah, that's everybody's so out of shape because they're off the steroids and nobody's been working out. So,
man, having to wrestle Mike Rotunda in his IRS get-up when he is the world's sweatiest man had to be just horrible.
Yeah.
Like, it feels like a joke. They were like, let's take the guy who sweats more than anyone and make him wrestle in a shirt and tie and slacks.
The idea of wearing a tie and slacks while wrestling is insane to me.
Oh, he looks like a businessman.
I guess.
We come back, and IRS is already in the ring. He says, Detroit used to be the Motor City, but now it's the tax cheat city.
Do you think it was like a deliberate thing where they were like, just say the lamest thing you possibly can?
These were so low energy. Like, he'd literally just be in the ring and be like, this has got to be the biggest crowd of tax cheats I've ever seen.
Like, They did this thing back in the day where, like, before the camera would come on, they would, like, rile up the crowd and, like, be like, so, like, Jerry Lawler was maybe the master of all time at this. Where, like, oh, the camera's off? I'm going to say a bunch of slurs and horrible shit about your grandmother. And then it comes back on, and he's just like, and I think Bret Hart has smelly feet. And the crowd's go like, I'll fucking kill you. But in this case, Mike Rotunda's version of that is, Detroit's got a lot of tax cheats.
It is true that the auto companies moved their factories out of the city to avoid taxes.
I mean, yeah, it's not wrong.
If they paid their fair share, maybe the people of Michigan wouldn't be cheating on their taxes.
Okay, in fairness, saying that out loud would have turned him massively babyface.
Yeah. IRS works the Kid over for a while. Then Kid makes a comeback. He hits his moonsault. He hits a drop kick. But then IRS hits the right-off clothesline, and he gets the 3 count. I had literally written down, but Kid kicks out, except he didn't.
Like, Kid is getting a pretty big push at this point to lose clean to IRS in 5 minutes.
I like it because you're not an underdog if you win all the time. Take notes, Sami Zayn.
But to IRS?
Sure, he could have come up with somebody better for him to lose to.
Well, let me hit you with this. Ludwig Borga.
Oh, good Lord.
Here's the thing. Ludwig Borga sucks. He sucks, and he's a Nazi, and he sucks. But he's the monster they're pushing to face Lex next.
Yeah.
So if he's the guy, feed him the Kid, man.
Should have fed him the Kid.
Instead, they feed him Jannetty, and nobody feels bad for Jannetty.
Would you have rather seen these 2 singles matches or Money Inc. against the Kid and Razor?
I would have way rather seen Money Inc. versus the Kid and Razor.
I would have, yeah. If you could have combined the lengths of those 2 matches together, you would have had a good tag match, I think.
Let the Kid beat DiBiase in his last match. It's a huge rub for the Kid.
Oh, my God. I cannot imagine the reaction to DiBiase getting pinned by the Kid.
That's what I'm saying.
Pettengill then interviews Bruce and Owen Hart. They say that Stu and Helen aren't there because Stu had to have knee surgery because he was so upset by the comments Jerry Lawler made about him and Helen on Raw that he injured his knee walking out of the arena that night.
Man, you must have really been stomping hard, buddy.
Yeah, he should have been stomping a mud hole in Lawler's ass because you know he could have.
That is the funny, like, even as like a 65-year-old man, the subtext is that he could absolutely whoop the ass of anyone on this roster. It's not a question.
How about the fashion choices here? Owen with his, like, tan dress shirt and his skinny black tie.
He looks, and he's got, like, the feathered mullet, and he looks all of 16 years old.
And then Bruce, who looks like, I don't know, 45, which he probably is.
Like, if you looked at these 2 right here, though, and you were like, one of these 2 guys is going to get a big push against Brett next year, you would guess it was Bruce, because Owen doesn't even look like a wrestler.
We don't know Bruce sucks, though, when we just look at him here. But This is probably when Bruce has, like, written his letter, like, proposing the storyline with Brett, and then Brett betrays it. And it's just like, why do we do it with Bruce? He's old. Let's do that with Owen instead.
That is maybe, like, the most awesome betrayal of all time.
Fuck Bruce.
Oh, I know. I fucking love it that Brett was just like, look, fuck Bruce. He sucks. Let's steal his idea and do it with Owen.
They call him the Hitman for a reason, because that was ice cold.
Fucking yeah.
Okay. Brett makes his entrance. Then Jerry Lawler comes out on crutches with his knee wrapped. This goes on so long.
Oh no, we're not going to get Brett versus Lawler?
Oh no! Oh no, we are too. We're going to get a bonus match.
Yeah.
He just talks and talks. He says he injured his leg in a car accident and he can't wrestle. And finally he announces Doink is going to replace him. And Doink comes down and throws water on Bruce.
Yeah.
All right. This is still the original Doink, so this is a pretty good match.
Yes. This is actually the last match for Matt Bourne, isn't it?
That's about right. I think they turned Doink babyface after this. And
Jeez.
Bourne is out, and he's I don't remember who replaced him. It was a couple different guys.
Yeah.
I love that, like, right after Doink came in, he was working with Brett for the title. I think Brett was just like, yeah, me and Osborne will tear it up.
And they did. By all accounts, they absolutely did.
I've never been a big Doink fan, but I know some people swear by this character. What's your take?
Look, I understand what people like about it. The idea of, like, what they like about it is the Joker, which is not what the character actually is. It's what people wish that it was.
Yeah, he's not evil. He's just, like, a mean prankster.
Yeah. And, like, I guess in this time, like, I guess that makes sense as a character. And at least it's an inversion of all the other cartoonish characters that are going on, so I can see what people like about it. Yeah. It's just, no, it's not. I'm one of those, all of us wrestling fans from this era fall into two categories. The greatest character of all time was either Doink the Clown or Waylon Mercy, and I'm in the Waylon Mercy camp.
I love Waylon Mercy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's two De Niro roles. It's either the King of Comedy or
Cape Fear.
Yeah. Brett just starts whooping Doink's ass.
Good.
Beats on him for a while. Then he gets distracted by Lawler, and Doink runs him into the steps. Doink works Brett over for a couple minutes, and then Brett makes his comeback. Brett puts him in the sharpshooter. Lawler jumps in the ring and smashes Brett with his crutch, and we've got a disqualification after 13 minutes.
Yay. And just when you thought that was enough of Bret Hart and Jerry Lawler.
This entire segment has got to be 35 minutes, 40 minutes?
I would guess so, yeah.
We're only like an hour into the show, and there's like 3 matches left. 4, I guess. But one of them is really short.
Like, I'm going to be honest, I fell asleep multiple times trying to watch this part. Like, part of that was just because I was tired. But part of it is just because, like, Lawler goes on for ages. This is a boring match. And then this Lawler-Brett match is even more boring.
So Lawler tries to leave, but Jack Tunney comes out and gives instructions to Finkel. And Lawler doesn't. He will be banned from the World Wrestling Federation for good.
Oh, no. The crowd cheers hugely for that, which of course they would.
And then we get Brett versus Jerry Lawler. Brett beats on Lawler, but Lawler turns the tide when he hits him with the crutch. Lawler crotches Brett on the ring post. They go back in the ring. Lawler uses the crutch again. Brett fires up and he backdrops Lawler. Then he hits a pile driver and an elbow drop. He locks on the sharpshooter. Lawler gives up, but Brett refuses to let go of the sharpshooter, and he's eventually disqualified, and Jerry Lawler is declared the king of the WWF.
He sure is.
The only king he is a Burger King.
Is a Burger King.
Might be the sickest burn in wrestling. It's that or Billy Bitch Cakes is the sickest burn in wrestling history.
Unrecoverable burns. I guess King eventually lived down Burger King, but Billy Gunn never lived down Billy Bitch Cakes.
And then we get a promo from Ludwig Borga. He's like walking around an alley somewhere, and he trashes America, saying it's a crumbling ghetto full of welfare bums.
Yep. Sure.
Okay, Ludwig Borga. What is there to say about this guy?
This might literally be the only match we've ever covered with him in it.
Yeah, because he's not around long. I think he was at Survivor Series. He beat Tatanka.
I mean, look. Well, first of all, go to hell. I did not care for that. Second of all, he's the one who breaks Tatanka's like 200 match winning streak. Ludwig Borga, well, the first thing to say is that he's a real shoot Nazi for real.
Yeah.
And ran for political office in Finland for like the fascism party. Yeah.
He got elected to parliament. Yeah. In an ultra right wing party. He had some kind of Nazi tattoo on his thigh, which is why he wears the weird singlet.
Yep. The 90s were a time for Nazis in the WWF. That's just a thing that happened for a while.
Going to read some things from his Wikipedia page. He developed a fascination with the United States after seeing Taxi Driver at the age of 12.
Sure, that's a movie you should see at 12, and also a movie to base the United States on.
He worked as a bodyguard for Cheap Trick and Gene Simmons.
Believe that, yeah.
He was trained by Vern Gagne.
Really?
Yeah.
Explains why he sucks.
He wrestled in Herb Abrams' UWF as the Viking.
That's right.
Yeah. Wrestled in New Japan in the early 90s.
Yeah, he did.
Beat Scott Norton, Vader, and Hashimoto. Holy shit.
He got a mega push, yeah.
Yeah. According to his Wikipedia page, he did not get over with the fans in New Japan.
No, they hated him.
Well, they're supposed to. He's a heel.
No, but they hated him. They hated him, not his character.
According to his Wikipedia page, he's been credited with helping Hashimoto take his career to another level because it made him look like a real fighter by beating Borga.
That's an exaggeration. I would like to pick. I have a bone to pick with whoever wrote this article.
His Wikipedia page is extensive. He was pinned by Ron Simmons at Fantastic Story in Tokyo Dome.
God, I have no memory of that. That's interesting.
WCW New Japan Super Show 3.
Wow.
That's when Ron Simmons is the world champion, I think.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was during Inoki's period of I want foreign big guys who look mean.
He had issues with Road Warrior Hawk and Scott Norton.
No.
It came out that he had knocked Norton out in a legitimate street fight, although some claim this was the result of a sucker punch.
I have always heard the sucker punch part.
Fearing that Norton would be looking for retribution, New Japan officials took a secret vote on what to do with the two. Afterwards, he started losing matches more regularly and left the promotion in 1993.
Took a secret vote on what to do with the two. What a weird way to handle that. And
then he showed up here in the WWF, and his run lasts about 6 months.
But you can see why they thought they might have something in him.
God, he looks like Brock Lesnar. He looks like Brock Lesnar's dad.
He's terrifying looking.
I mean, he's not as jacked as Lesnar, but he's got a pretty good... I mean, he's a big dude, and when he starts throwing those punches and just throwing Jannetty around, there's something here. Shame he's a huge racist.
Here's the thing, though. If you want to create a character who's going to go up against Lex Luger's All-American babyface, you've got a good one here. The shooter from Finland who hates America on principle is not bad.
Yeah, and I don't know, his promos sound authentic because these are his real political views he's espousing.
Yeah, luckily he doesn't continue going off into his other political views like white supremacy, et cetera, et cetera.
It's Marty Jannetty against Ludwig Borga. Jannetty got a nice pop here. He won the Intercontinental title from Shawn on that awesome episode of Raw a few months before this.
Yeah, he's still coming off of his one good moment in his entire career, but it's gonna go sideways pretty quick after this.
Did he get a single offensive maneuver in this match?
Not even close. I don't think he even raised his hand up to punch.
Yeah, just demolition here. Borga wins with the torture rack after 5 minutes.
Yep.
Next up, a Rest in Peace match as The Undertaker takes on Giant Gonzalez.
Now, the fact that they did another one of these matches after what is maybe the worst match of all time at WrestleMania is some real bold strokes.
It's funny because they gave him a feud with Mr. Hughes, is who Undertaker was working with on the house shows, because I don't think they wanted to subject the crowds to Giant Gonzalez matches. But they still did this here. They felt like they had to blow this one off.
But also, Mr. Hughes is maybe worse.
Mr. Hughes is pretty bad.
Poor Taker, man. But I will say this. It isn't that bad. They really fixed the problem.
They did a better job here. This was about as good as you could get out of Gonzalez at this point. And his health, I think, is already failing him. He already seems very diminished from where he was in WCW.
Yeah. And I mean, he's a natural babyface. I think that's something that's not made enough of. Is
So
that
fascinating, but yeah, he seems like a very nice, likable guy.
got like a big, awesome smile. He seems lovely.
Yeah.
Having him play the monster just seems so against type for him, you know?
The Sasquatch outfit and the little black shoes.
And Harvey Whippleman, the insurance salesman, standing next to him.
Harvey's so short. That's what they were going for. He's like 2 feet taller than Harvey.
I know, but it just doesn't work. Like, nothing about this works.
Cool entrance for Undertaker. The lights go out, and he walks to the ring in a spotlight.
And, like, there's a lot of arenas where the lights go out and it's not actually that dark. But this is in the days before, there's stuff everywhere.
This isn't just any arena. This is the Palace. This has got the best lighting and sound in the world.
Yeah, it is pitch black in this arena, except for the spotlight. It's awesome.
Cool. They probably just should have kept that his whole career.
Yeah, it's way better.
The spotlight is badass. He looks so scary coming out in the spotlight.
Especially during this era, because he's got like all the makeup on and the hair in his face and the big hat, and like he just looks like death coming.
For whatever reason, he's much scarier with the red hair. It's probably actually the makeup.
Yeah. It makes him look paler, like more like a corpse to me. Also, he gets a mega pop from this crowd. I did not think that he was anywhere near this level babyface yet.
He is alone. He doesn't have Paul Bear with him. I think Paul Bear got taken out by Mr. Hughes because I don't remember Giant Gonzalez doing anything to him at WrestleMania. And Whippleman has the urn because Hughes stole it from Undertaker.
Sure. Though they're not really doing anything with that. It's just kind of like, oh, he has it.
It's just going to get resolved here.
Yeah.
Taker attacks him right off the opening bell. Gonzalez overpowers him, slams him into the steps. Then the gong hits again, and Paul Bear comes out with a black wreath. I think his first appearance in several months.
Also a mega pop.
Yeah. Whippleman rushes him, and Bear hits him with a pretty good clothesline. Nice bump for Bruno, too.
Fucking lariats his ass, head over heels.
Bear then retrieves the urn, and that gives The Undertaker the power to fire up, hit some clotheslines, and then a diving clothesline from the top rope for the pin. I think that's the way you go. Once you knock the Giant off his feet, there's nothing more to do.
I think this was perfectly fine. If this had been the WrestleMania match, I don't think any of us would have had a problem with it, to be totally honest with you. Like, this isn't good, but it's perfectly fine.
After the match, Gonzalez turns babyface by chokeslamming Whippleman.
And he takes care of him because Gonzalez, even with his health declining, probably could have lifted him into the rafters at this point.
Fowler then interviews Yokozuna, Fuji, and Cornette. Cornette says his team only lost because the referee was from Detroit and he was biased. And then he talks for a while, and we end up with Yokozuna promising that Luger will hear Banzai tonight.
They do this great thing. Well, first of all,
Cornette spends like the face.
Yeah, first of all, Cornette spends the first 3 minutes talking about the heavenly bodies, which I'm sure Vince was like, nobody cares, shut up. Like, get to Yokozuna. Yeah. But yeah, as he starts talking about Yokozuna, the camera just slowly starts panning in closer and closer on his face until it's really locked on, like, just his face. As Cornette's, like, screaming about how Yokozuna's gonna kill Lex Luger. It's a really cool image.
This goes, Banzai!
He's got his one line. He knows what to do.
And then we get the longest bathroom break match of all time. Holy shit. Smoking Guns and Tatanka versus Bam Bam and the Head Shrinkers for 11 minutes.
11 minutes. I couldn't tell you anything that happened.
Fine as the opener. Like, this would have gotten a nice pop for the opening match. Nobody wanted to see this late in the show.
I couldn't tell you anything that happened in it. I had no idea.
Tatanka rolled up Samu and won the match is about all I've got.
Good. Yeah, let's move on. I got nothing.
And then we get a long reset before the main event. We interview Luger's bus driver. He does not sound very convincing as he tries to say that Luger is a nice guy.
Imagine you had to spend 6 weeks alone on a bus with Lex Luger.
Then Pettengill interviews some fan named Bruce, who's from Wyandotte, Michigan. His mom made him an outfit to wear tonight.
Which is supposed to be red, white, and blue, but there's no blue on it. It's just red and white.
Yeah. Come on, Mom. Get it together. Finkel asked the crowd to rise and show respect for the Japanese national anthem. I don't know who sung this, but I think that was this was one of the Orient Express guys that was in the ring with him.
Yes,
this was Sato.
Yeah.
Randy Savage comes out to join the commentary team for the main event, and he's got Aaron Neville with him. Is Aaron Neville a country guy?
No, he was an R&B singer. He has a very distinctive voice. Where he sounds like this.
Pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. His voice sounds ridiculous, but the more you listen to it, the more you like it.
Yeah. Neville sings the Star Spangled Banner.
Yeah.
And then it's main event time for the WWF title. Yokozuna defends against Lex Luger. Yoko comes out first with Fuji and Cornette. I mean, what is there to say other than this man is absolutely massive? I love how he looks coming out with the belt draped over his shoulder.
In Lex's interview, he said that all the boys in the back called Yoko the showstopper because literally when he would walk out, everyone in the whole arena could not take their eyes off of him. He looked unbelievable.
Never seen a man this size.
No.
Like, he's 500 plus pounds.
And I mean, he's also
he starts
like 6'6".
wrestling, he moves.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is that, like, he's bulky, but he's also hugely tall and fast. Like, there's never been anything like this.
His thighs are, like, as thick as my waist.
And, like, the weird thing is, too, is I remember as a kid seeing him and thinking of him as an athlete. Like, he's fat, but you don't think of him as, like, you think of, like, a fat person. Does that make sense?
He's like one of those crazy giant NFL linemen who can really move. Like, you see him get hustling in the open field, and you're like, oh, that guy's actually kind of fast.
Yeah.
Like, that guy could beat me in a foot race.
One of these just, like, freaks of nature that somehow exists.
Yeah. I think this was the guy. Like, I see this and, like, why wasn't he champion for 2 years?
This is what I'm saying. Vince's stubbornness, and probably I wonder if he would have been more open to it if they hadn't had so much bad publicity. If, like, it hadn't been with, like, the steroid trial and, like, everything that was going on, they probably needed, like, a feel-good babyface, and I get that.
But he's a great champion for the steroid era, because nobody's going to say he's on steroids.
I'm going to say this out loud right now, and maybe this is a hot take. I don't know if it is. I don't know if any company has ever been delivered a can't-miss top heel like this, aside from maybe Lesnar.
I was about to say Brock Lesnar, and it's hard to... The Giant?
But was he? Because he sucked. Like he wasn't... Like, Yoko's way better.
Yoko was much more polished. Yoko also had a lot more experience. Yoko had been wrestling for several years at this point.
And that's the funny thing, is Yoko had been around enough to get all that experience and exposure, but it felt like no one had ever seen him before when he first came out. Like,
he was in the dying days of the AWA.
Right.
And the gimmick, the presentation was so different from Coquina.
It's just... This is special on a level unheard of. He is remembered the way that very few people from his era really are.
Like even though Andre the Giant.
Yeah, he had a very short run if you really think about it.
Yeah,
especially like on top.
93, 94.
If he had held the belt until like 96, I don't think anybody has anything negative to say about that. Like,
I think there's a world where you put it on him at WrestleMania 9 and he drops it to Diesel at WrestleMania 11. Like, God. After he's beaten everyone under the sun and no one's willing to fight him, Diesel comes out and is like, yeah, I'll fight the big guy.
Diesel having to jackknife Yokozuna would be fucking funny.
I don't think he could jackknife him. I think he would have had to do the flying clothesline he did on Mabel.
I'm not even sure. Like, I don't even know who the guy is. That's the question that they were debating at this point, and maybe they don't even have the guy yet. I don't know. Like, maybe Sean gets put over way more beating Yoko because he's the young underdog.
Yeah.
Like, that's the perfect opponent for Sean.
3 sweet chin musics to finally get Yoko down.
And it's not like the sharpshooter, which you can't put on, or the jackknife, which you can't do. Sweet chin music works on anybody, man.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Whatever. It just feels like they do it, and they draw a lot with it. It's just, it feels like a missed opportunity, because Yokozuna could have been one of the biggest acts of all time. I genuinely feel that way. I feel like he could have been enough to pull them out of the shit had they gone fully with him.
His house show program with The Undertaker really drew. That was something people really wanted to see.
At a time where nothing anywhere for anyone is drawing,
Yeah.
those two on a house show marquee was selling places out.
And then Savage introduces Luger, who comes out to the Stars and Stripes Forever. It's pretty lame.
I will say,
That's Jim Duggan music.
As much as I'm with most of the Lex presentation, the Stars and Stripes Forever, I rolled my eyes at. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, way too cheesy. He would have been much better if they'd had his the entrance theme they would give him at WrestleMania 10 here.
I mean, I think they should have just given him, I'll be your hero, which I've had stuck in my head for days after watching this show.
And when Luger came through the curtain, I gasped. He was so small.
Yeah, still in great shape, obviously, but not nearly in the shape you remember Lex being.
Yeah, he's probably down to like, I don't know, 230, 235.
Wait a minute. Was the Lex Express just a 6-week period so he could cycle off the steroids?
Well, now we're talking, aren't we?
Wait a minute.
It's a conspiracy time.
See, because, actually... Because it would have been too obvious if it had happened on TV, like, across the course of the weeks.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, when you compare how he looked at King of the Ring, I bet he's down 25 or 30 pounds. He's so much smaller.
And maybe that's just because he can't keep his diet for 6 weeks on a bus. I mean, that is
Could
possible.
be, yeah, this is long before meal delivery services.
Yeah, you can't buy 45 chicken breasts from a Sheetz at 1 o'clock in the morning. It just doesn't work that way.
No, and if they're not in the South, there's no Waffle Houses.
Yep.
But yeah, at his peak in WCW, I bet he was like 285, 290.
Yeah, he's probably like 240 here.
Yeah, he's slimmed down so much from even a few months prior.
Yep.
Luger dominates the match early. Earl Hebner forces Luger to break on a 10-punch, and Yoko takes the opportunity to level him with a chop. Fuji tries to throw salt in Luger's eyes, but Luger cuts him off. Luger tries for the slam, but Yoko blocks it and slams Luger. They go out on the floor. Yoko chokes Luger with the frills from his gear. The frills from Yoko's gear. He didn't do the Kurt Hennig thing and rip tassels off. That's the funniest story, that Kurt Hennig, every night he would wrestle Luger, would rip one of his tassels off and then give it back to him backstage.
And Lex would be like, God damn it, my perfect outfit, no!
And Luger would be like, oh, hey, sorry, man. He also would do stuff to be like, oh, did you not train today? You look small.
Is it even possible to be a bodybuilder on his level without being like OCD to some extent?
No, I don't think so, because you gotta eat so clean.
Like, you've gotta like be so obsessed with making yourself perfect in that way.
Do you remember the story about him being at the bar and paying the bartender to peel shrimp for him?
Yep.
What a heel.
Like, there's no more natural heel than that.
Yoko puts Luger up against the post and hits him with an avalanche. Back in the ring, Luger hits 2 axe handles from the top rope, and then a flying clothesline that finally knocks Yoko down. Fuji throws the salt bucket to Yoko as Cornette is distracting Hebner, and Yoko hits Luger with it. And Yoko beats on Luger, hits him with a bunch of suplexes. Can't put him away. He goes up for the bonsai drop, but Luger rolls out of the way. Yoko goes for a charge in the corner. Luger moves, and then he slams him. Huge pop for the slam.
Yeah.
Should note, the crowd has been rocking for Luger this whole match.
Oh, when Luger comes out, it's like 97 Steve Austin. Like, whatever you want to say, as I've said numerous times on this show, whatever you want to say about Lex Luger and all of this stuff, he is a god on this night in Detroit.
Fuji jumps up on the apron. Luger punches him out. Luger then rolls the pad covering the metal plate in his arm down, and he hits Yoko with a forearm that knocks Yoko out to the floor. Cornette gets up on the apron, so Luger punches him out too. And then the referee's count hits 10, and Luger wins by count out.
The funny thing about this is that, like, the bit with Cornette distracts from the count, so you don't even really notice that the count out is happening. Like, he hits Cornette, and then the referee just rings the bell and awards the match, as if beating Cornette's ass was the purpose of the match.
So, I don't know. The crowd reaction's interesting. They cheer at first. I think people get kind of confused by the huge celebration, I feel like.
It's just the DQ win. I think they're willing to go with Lex and celebrate a little bit, and like maybe they're disappointed, but whatever, it's fine. But instead, they do like us. Okay, let me paint a word picture for you, because this is incredible. First, like confetti starts falling from the ceiling. Then all the wrestlers in the back come out and like hoist Lex up on their shoulders.
The Bret Hart WrestleMania 10 ending.
It's the same ending. And then, halfway through the celebration, they cut to a music video of Lex Luger on the Lex, which is basically, it's literally the I'll Be Your Hero video, but with a different song. I don't know if they lost the rights to that or not. They have a different, actually better song. And then they come back and the celebration is still going on. And then they all go to the back, still celebrating. And then Ludwig Borga rocks up and is like, fuck you, Lex Luger, you suck. And then the show ends.
Yeah. And Yoko is laid out the entire time. Yoko never moves.
This is The Giant at Road Wild level burial of Yokozuna.
Oh, if Ian Ian's like, look at our poor champion. He's knocked out. He hasn't moved. Somebody help him.
Why are you rubbing this in so much?
I have no idea. Why wasn't this a heat finish? Why wasn't Luger mad that Yoko was such a coward and wouldn't get back in the ring?
That would have been a great idea. And then, like,
Cornette I guess that's also the purpose. That's also the purpose of the Cornette interference, is because it distracted Luger from going to get Yoko back.
Yeah, but like Yoko and Jim Cornette should be at the top of the ramp with shit-eating grins on their face, because now Luger's lost his only ever chance at the belt.
Yeah, the giant celebration is so bizarre and is so off-putting, because he just looks like a goof.
Yeah, why is he so happy? He failed.
Yeah, he's not getting the belt. He's never going to get another title match. It's
just so... All the other wrestlers are like, yeah, you don't get a title match anymore. It's our turn. Thanks, Lex.
Fuck. Yeah, I think this is fine if you just present this finish differently.
Yeah. But again, yeah, this is another reason why it's gone down in history as being so ridiculous. It's just, this finish is so stupid.
Yeah, like you said, they play the highlight package of the Luger bus tour, and then we come back, like, Luger does a little interview backstage, and Ludwig Borga interrupts to say he wasn't impressed by Luger and he's not impressed by the USA, and that sets up the Ludwig Borga versus Lex Luger house show program that came after this. Those matches had to be unwatchable.
Everything about this finish suggests that Luger was supposed to win the belt here. The big celebration, the next challenger coming out to challenge him after it's over. Everything about this says Luger wins the belt, and then that's how we go. But that doesn't happen.
According to Bruce Pritchard, it was kind of it was like the week of. Vince changed his mind about Luger winning. They had planned on Luger winning the belt here, and at the last minute, Vince decided not to. But I have no idea why they still did the finish this way.
I will say, I think it was the right decision not to put the belt on him, just because I think it's way too soon.
Yeah, he's not ready for it. You haven't built him up nearly enough.
And Yoko is doing so well. Why are you going to take the belt off him now? WrestleMania probably would have been a perfectly fine time to do this exact thing.
Yeah, the story. I mean, Luger can get his title shot here, and he can fail, and then
he
can
has
have
to win the
Royal
Rumble.
Rumble. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's easy. It's what they were going for, but then when they got to WrestleMania, they still didn't think he was over enough and made Brett the champ instead.
Just imagine you're Luger and you're going through this whole bus tour assuming you're going to win the belt, but then you don't. And then you go to the Royal Rumble and you're assuming you're going to win, but you don't. And then you go into WrestleMania assuming you're going to win there too, and then you also don't. What a fucking bait and switch they did to him.
Yeah, you understand how he bailed on them with no notice.
Yeah. And then they were like, oh, why did he do that? Because fuck you guys. That's why.
Oh, man. So that's a wrap for this just strange, bizarre show. I don't think this was like a particularly good show in terms of the matches that were presented, but I really enjoyed it. There was, the set was good. I loved the crowd. I thought there was a lot of really interesting things going on here. I love these shows that take place during transition periods.
Yeah, and this is just such a nostalgic moment for me. Like, I was such a big fan of the shows during this time. Everyone on the shows could not do wrong with me. Doink the Clown, IRS, all superstars in the eyes of little, God, I would have been 8 at the time. Yeah, so little 8-year-old me was 100% sold on absolutely everybody on this show. But before we get out of here, I think I got to try to stump Steve.
All right, what do we got?
All right, so here we have had 3 SummerSlams before this, 89, 90, 91, 92, okay?
88, 89, 90,
yes.
91, 92, 5.
Okay. There is one man, and only one, who had previously appeared on all of the other SummerSlams, but does not appear on this show.
Oh!
Can you tell me who that man is?
I'm going to have to think about that. I was going to say Bret Hart, but then you hit me with, but didn't appear here.
Yes, that's correct. Bret Hart has appeared on every SummerSlam to date, but he is on this show. You could basically call him Mr. SummerSlam, I guess.
Bret? Yeah. I'm going to guess Tito Santana. Wasn't he in a dark match at SummerSlam 92?
That is a good guess. I'm not counting that. So if you want to take that one back.
Again?
Yeah.
Okay. Davey Boy Smith must have missed 1 or 2 when the Bulldogs were gone.
He did.
Okay, I'm thinking about the original SummerSlam.
I will say it's a much bigger name than you're thinking.
Okay. It's not Hulk Hogan because he wasn't at SummerSlam the previous year.
That is correct.
I'm trying to remember. Roddy Piper was not at the original SummerSlam.
Correct.
Andre the Giant wasn't at SummerSlam 92.
I love it when I have a juicy one for a change.
The Ultimate Warrior.
Bam! It's the Ultimate Warrior. Good job,
That's right.
buddy.
Because he left after SummerSlam 91, and he was back for SummerSlam 92.
Literally, he is basically the star of every SummerSlam.
Really is, when you
until
think
this
about
one.
it. Like, the big moment at the first one is him over Honky Tonk Man. Then in 89, he wins the IC title back from Rick Rude. 90 and 91, he's in the main events. And 92, he's in the world title match.
Yeah, he's basically in the main event, the drawing main event. Yeah. Mr. Ultimate Warrior, this is the first one he misses.
Wow. You did not stump Steve.
No, I didn't, but I'm genuinely impressed with you on that one. I knew I had a good one there.
All right. Any other thoughts on this show?
Nope. I liked it, but and I definitely think that people should go out of their way to watch it because it's one of those things that people dismiss out of hand. And I think if there's anything that we love on this show, it's like debunking a piece of history that everyone just has accepted, even though it's not true. And I think the idea that the Lex Express was a horrible failure is not true. It's just not. I think other things that they did ruined the Lex Express, but the actual Express was a terrific success.
This in 92, like, they're not the best SummerSlams, but they're the ones I think of when I think of SummerSlam.
Yeah, absolutely. They
It's kind of
feel
the iconic
gigantic,
ones.
but not like the stadium stuff that comes later. They just feel like special summer shows.
Yeah. All right, we got a Twitter question before we get out of here. AJ Jones asks, which y'all feel is more disappointing from SummerSlam 93? Shawn versus Perfect or the result of Luger versus Yoko? I'd definitely say Shawn versus Perfect.
It's Shawn versus Perfect.
Yeah, I didn't really have a problem with Luger not winning the title here. I just didn't like the presentation of it with the celebration.
Even as a kid, when I would have been rooting for Lex, like, he does win. And, like, I don't think anybody had high expectations for what that was going to be going in. Whereas, I mean, especially for, like, the newsletter readers at the time, I bet you they thought that, like, Perfect versus Shawn was going to be a 19-star classic, and it just didn't work out that way.
All right. Next time, we're going to start a new season.
Yeah.
Going to go to the happiest, most wonderful place in the world, which is 1996 World Championship Wrestling, and we're going to talk about the group that changed the face of pro wrestling forever. We're going to talk about the rise of the New World Order, starting with Great American Bash 96.
When we first talked about the idea of doing seasons, back when we took our, like, prolonged break, the first ideas we had were the Summer of Punk, the Invasion, and this, the rise of the New World Order. I am so excited to be covering this. I've never really watched most of this. Covering it month to month is going to be so fucking cool, and just the most radical change any company has ever made in such a short time.
Yeah. What are going to be some of the big things we're going to do? I mean, obviously, we're going to talk about Hall and Nash coming into WCW. We're going to talk about Hogan turning heel, but there's all sorts of good things happening on the undercard here. You've got, like, the wild Benoit-Sullivan feud. You've got the rise of the Cruiserweight division. You've got Lex Luger getting more over than he's ever been in his career.
The blood runs cold being in the background as Bischoff has to wildly swerve into a brand new direction when that fails.
The Dungeon of Doom. Yeah, there's some real tonal inconsistencies going on here.
Yep.
So yeah, we'll have all that and more next time on the Lawcast. Thanks for listening. We'll see you again next time.